Hey, everybody, welcome to the Ankerstar Wealth Morning Show. Yes, I know it's another afternoon show, but I'm not ready to rename it yet. As you can see, I am on the road again, out to a conference in Colorado Springs, Future Proof. It's a retreat. I was a little bit selective to get in, so I was happy that I was finally able to get in, but meeting a lot of really interesting people, and it's great networking, and be back home starting tomorrow. But that's where I am. That's the background up here in Colorado Springs. We got 3 topics for you today. First of all, I'm going to talk a lot about things we've talked about in this conference this week is Bitcoin. There's people pitching all kinds of crypto stuff. It's like, let's just table that. Let's just watch the Bitcoin, because we've taken this ride since late last year. Now it's in our model. So we really need, I need to reassure you that we have this laser focus on what's going on in the Bitcoin world, because they're making large moves. Then I'm going to hand it over to Mike. And who would have seen this announcement? Literally, it's like the definition of insider trading if you knew this was coming. But McDonald's is going to sell Krispy Kreme donuts. What? Donuts and McDonald's? I guess maybe it makes perfect sense. Mike's going to peel that back a little bit and do some and show you what's going on in these stocks that are related to that. And then lastly, you know that the most important thing going on in your life is the March Madness stock, March stock madness, stock market madness. So Mike's going to take one of the brackets. He's going to talk through who the winners were on Monday. Again, we're going to do this 4 times this week. So you can see who the final 32 teams are, and then we will pick it up again next weekend. Don't forget, Friday is a no trade day. Markets are closed for Easter. Before we begin, though, this is a financial education presentation. You have to do your own due diligence before acting upon anything you hear in this presentation. For more disclaimer information is available at ankerstarwealth.com. Let's get started with Bitcoin. Some days you're happy, some days you're not. Yesterday was one of those happy days. So here you go. You should be seeing the Bitwise Bitcoin ETF. If you're invested with us and you have it, you're in one of the higher risk models, you have a piece of this. Or if you've reached out to me, even if you're a conservative and say, Steve, I want in for a little bit, you have this in your portfolio. I'm meeting actually with the chief investment officer tonight, having dinner at a steakhouse, just he and I. How cool is that to get that kind of access? He was the one who was on CNBC several days in a row talking about this is like the Bitcoin's IPO moment. And again, if you look to the left of this chart, this is back to January over in this area, is when the ETFs, eventually, got approved by the SEC to start trading, and we use the Bitwise version. So I'm looking forward to that opportunity. But what I wanted to point out is we had the peak in here at, what was that, March 12th, which wasn't that long ago. But then it was a continuous selling. So it's like, why would we be selling here? Well, when you look at the Bitcoin chart, and the reason I'm bringing this up today is because I want you to know, expect this in the future. This is not uncommon. So when you look at this chart, this goes all the way back to July of 2020. So think, okay, right after COVID. So it's a 3-year chart, had some new highs back in here. Well, we just finally hit that new high. So when you see our new high, there was a big sell-off. But the last time they had new highs, you see these massive sell-offs. So that's called a consolidation period. People invest for all kinds of reasons. So there's traders in here. There's people that invest to make a goal. Maybe they're wanting to buy an airplane or a new car or something. They hit the goal. Well, then they sell. So when you see these huge moves up, there's lots of selling pressure out there. Some people have to sell to pay taxes, right, on all the stuff, all the money they've made. So just expect that. I fully expect this chart to go higher. Otherwise, we wouldn't be in it, especially in it as long as much as we are. But related back to BITB, we didn't, after the big 11% move up yesterday, which is this guy right here, basically retraced 4 days worth of selling. You're going to see those moves up and down. So that's one of those things you have to ask yourself for risk tolerance. Is, it's kind of like walking up to the amusement park and you look at the roller coasters and you look at that one that's going all over the place and you're like, nope. And you look at that one and be like, I'd be bored on that one. You got to pick the right roller coaster for you. It will continue to be a roller coaster as this thing hopefully goes higher over time. So I just want to show that to you and let you know to strap in, be prepared for it. Obviously, since it's moved up, we haven't trimmed much at all, and I'm not really ready to. So I'd like you to take the ride, but ultimately it's your money. So if you're uncomfortable with anything we're doing, you want us to trim a little bit, just reach out and we can certainly do that for you. All right, that's what I'm going to talk about for Bitcoin today. I'm going to turn it over to Mike and tell us about the relationship between McDonald's and Krispy Kreme donuts.
Yes. Well, first of all, I wanted to show that when I bought my Bitcoin t-shirt, one of the things they sent me was
Hey, it's an actual Bitcoin.
it's an actual Bitcoin, and trust me, my wife was like, is that a real Bitcoin? And I'm like, it's not worth $70,000, thank goodness, or it would be stolen from me. But it feels kind of nice for like a poker chip. So what I want to talk about today is, and I'll say since the beginning of the year, I've been trying to shed some pounds, and I've been, my weight has been trending down, so that's good. But one thing that has always tempted me is when you get one of those nice, warm, Krispy Kreme donuts right from the shop. So if you've ever had them, I mean, Krispy Kreme donuts, when you get them at the store or whatever, yeah, they're all right. They're all right. But if you get them warm right at the place, they are so good. That would be a diet breaker. Thank goodness, the only one, and I'm sure there's one in Cincinnati, I just don't know where it is. The only one that I know where it's at is in Louisville, and I always stop there when I'm driving south. So Krispy Kreme. So this company has a very interesting history. It IPO'd in the early 2000s, and I remember when I lived in Maine talking with one of my friends, and we were, investors, and we were like, man, there's all these great tech companies, but what is this Krispy Kreme donut company that's tearing up the stock market? And I don't know if I have, I can scroll down here and I'll show you. This was the graph in the early 2000s as Krispy Kreme shot up. And we were like, how can donuts be worth this much money? Well, it turns out they weren't, because there was some problems with their accounting where they were saying they had more money than they did and all kinds of investigations, and they went crashing down and eventually went bankrupt. So if you search now, the new ticker symbol is DNUT, and I'll show that graph in just a second. But if you see that, it only goes back a few years, because they ended up closing down, and not really totally bankrupt where they shut all their stores down, but at least trading. It used to trade under the ticker symbol KKD. So now, why is it in the news? So let me show you the latest graph for Krispy Kreme. So I'm going to actually, let me see here. I will bring it up. Actually, it is DNUT. It is up 36% today. 36%, wow. A new 52-week high on news that McDonald's is going to start selling these in, I said, 2026. And, how much is this company worth? Well, now it's worth $2.8 billion, but yesterday it was only worth $2 billion. Part of me was wondering why McDonald's, a $200 billion company, worth 100 times as much, why didn't they just buy Krispy Kreme? Why didn't they just buy the stock? Because they just set the stock up by, a third. And what they say is that by McDonald's selling Krispy Kreme donuts, this will double the amount of donuts they are producing. So, is this the time to go buy donut stock? I don't know. It's something we'll certainly look at. But I just think, man, McDonald's. When I think McDonald's, what do I think? Do I think healthy foods? No, I do not. I do not think healthy foods. So they're adding donuts to that. And but you know what McDonald's has is they have a great way to deliver product. So McDonald's is all over the place. I had a job at McDonald's when I between military and college for like 2 months. And what they do is they train people that haven't done this before, and they get them up to speed, and they sell product. And whether that product's good or bad, in your opinion, at least a lot of young people do buy it. So on the other side is, so if Krispy Kreme's up 36%, boy, this must have had a big effect on McDonald's. No, not really. It's up 0.27% on the day. It's been trading flat. No big deal. $200 billion company. They sell lots of stuff. So anyways, and McDonald's is in our top 64, but they were not in the bracket yesterday. So let's get to reporting on yesterday's results. I'm going to bring this up in Excel. And yesterday was a down market. The Dow was down 0.41%, S&P down 0.3%, and NASDAQ down 0.27%. So if your stock was just down a little, you may have won. So first, I want to start off with our number one seed in the Bill Gates division, David, Jaden, Irene, I am sorry to say Microsoft went down. We should rename the division. It should no longer be the Bill Gates division. Uber took out Microsoft. Uber was only down 1%. Microsoft down 1.37. Uber advances. Next one, Netflix. Trisha picked Netflix. Spencer took Coca-Cola. Netflix prevails. Talk about the closest matchup. Netflix only down a little bit, but Coca-Cola just down a little more. So Netflix advances to face Uber in the second round. The 12 seed Abbott Labs advanced. No one had them. Next, the 13 seed who Russ had, he actually had T-Mobile advancing as a 13 seed. Then the battle of the oil versus the automotive. Oil takes it. Shell actually up 0.75, the best performer out of all those 16 stocks, takes out Toyota. Then we have Taiwan Semiconductor, who Jim actually picked. Taiwan advances over Caterpillar. Then, the saddest matchup of all, I had Costco. And Costco went down to SAP. So that eliminated my pick. And then probably now the new favorite in the Bill Gates division, Eli Lilly, who Steve had, Pat had. I think those were the only two. So Eli Lilly advances. I have not looked at today's standings, but the matchups that are happening right now that are going to be closing in the next hour, Apple versus American Express, Bank of America, Accenture, Exxon versus Novartis, Walmart, Qualcomm, Oracle, Disney, on and on. Berkshire Hathaway, who I do know somebody took Berkshire. Pat has Berkshire. So we'll see who advances, and then we will report out on the Steve Jobs division tomorrow. Unfortunately, there is no Bitcoin hidden in here because I think a lot of people would have taken them to advance and they would have rolled. But so far, turn it back over to Steve.
Yep, I was thinking of that myself. There's no Krispy Kreme in there. There's no Bitcoin, right? Which would certainly be an interesting pick. But hey, love it. You're right. Tomorrow we're going to do a different bracket based on the results that are closing out not too long from here. But thanks again for listening today, and we will see you guys back tomorrow. Hopefully your bracket's still alive, and hopefully you get some good news tomorrow. With that, we'll talk to you later. Bye.